we are live. We are live here on the Dixie Belle Paint page on YouTube and also here on Facebook today. So welcome. Hello, how are you today? It is Melissa from the Top Drawer RVA coming live to hang out, sit on the floor and play with some paint and have a little decoupage fun. So welcome. If you're new, joining me for the first time, say hi in the comments below. Let me know where you're watching from. If you're back again, to say hello, see what is up. Well, welcome back. We have a new project today and we are going to be working on this table that I've turned turvy so that I can show you exactly how I apply my decoupage paper. And we are going to do this together in real time because I get a lot of questions about how to apply a rice paper, how to apply a tissue paper, how to apply any of the decoupage papers, and this is going to be the best way for me to show you real time. So if you see me looking up here, I'm talking to you Facebook. If you see me looking down here, I'm talking to you over here on YouTube. All right, let's jump in. As always, if you have questions and I don't see them because they are flying by at the speed of light, well, I am working. I'm more than happy to answer them. You can come in and drop them below, or as a Dixie Belle ambassador, I'm always available to help you on your painting journey. You're always welcome to send me a short message. I can help you out with your paint, your choices, whatever it is that you're looking to do. That is my job and why I'm here. So what are we doing today? Well, we have a paper that I've never used before. This paper is new to me. This is called Indian Summer. This is a premium decoupage rice paper, okay? There's one huge sheet of paper in this package. And if you need the measurements, I'm going to tell you. In inches, it's 23.375 by 33.125. If you need it in centimeters for my Canadian friends, we will be at 59.4 by 80 centimeters. So let's show you what the plan is on this table, and we're going to talk a little bit about how we are going to get it done. So this is actually a drawer table. You can see the three sections here. These sides, these two side pieces, they go down, okay? They actually fold down, and then you're left with this skinny piece of table on top. I brought it in yesterday. I cleaned it with White Lightning. If you don't know, White Lightning is now available in these beautiful, already pre-made spray bottles. Hello, look how crazy cute that is. This really makes your job easy. It arrives like this. You put the spray nozzle, you have a new spray bottle. Because if you're like me, they get junked up pretty darn quick. So this is my cleaner for all furniture items. Clean and rinse with water. After I finished rinsing with water, you can see that it is white. What I did was add Bonding Boss. What is Bonding Boss and why did I put it on the top of this table? Well, this table was almost like a red mahogany stained wood. What does that mean? That means that when you paint on top of anything that has a red wood base, it's possible that the tannins in the wood could bleed through. And then if it bleeds through, what happens is it makes stains on whatever it is that you're working on. So you could be completely done your project, put your top coat on, and all the way through, and you're going to freak out. Nobody wants to freak out, so let's do the proper prep. We have Bonding Boss dried from yesterday. It must be dry for 24 hours before you begin to paint, okay? Once that 24-hour cycle has passed, you are good to go. Do all the things to this little guy that you want to do, that you would do to normal wood, and it's also an adhesion primer. So this is going to help me with a gripping primer. This is going to allow me to put something on top here that is going to be, tried, trusted, and true, won't bleed. It's going to stick really well. And now, because this paper is a light paper, let's hold it up and show you. I'm not even going to paint. I'm not even going to paint it. I'm just going to stick the paper on top of it and paint around it because I'm going to use that white as my base, right? So let's show you what this paper is going to look like. All right, so this paper is actually almost the entire top of the table. Hello, could it have been any more perfect? Like a glove, baby, like a glove. So that is why I chose this paper. Yes, the image is going the horizontal, when technically it could go the other way. But friends, when the sides are down, you can't tell that this image in the front could be going another way. So I feel like I'm going to be able to work this out. We're going to be able to do this and we're going to do it well. So let's talk about what I do to prepare a piece of decor for application. Well, you can see on the edges of this paper that there's a white edge. Do you have to cut this off, the white edge? No, you don't have to. Do I? Yeah. You can also tear it if you wanted. I'm just going to remove edge. Because I am going to paint over top, I just want to kind of take it down some. We're going to be using Terra clay paint today to come in and paint this paper in. We'll see how far we can get with our journey today in this video. We're definitely going to get the paper on, and we're definitely going to play with some colors to see what I want to do. There's a lot of pattern on here. So because it doesn't go all the way to the edge, I think I'll be bringing this pattern out by using paints and stencils. So a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of fun today. If you've ever had a question about decoupage paper, or if I'm saying it wrong for you, decoupage paper. I am Canadian, I have a weird accent, and I did spend my weekend in Canada, and when I spend it at home in Canada, my accent comes back kind of heavy. So if I sound a little Midwest or Canadian to you today, more so than usual, I'm visiting to Canada. I flew into Canada for like a World 48-hour trip this past weekend for my parents' anniversary. So I kind of got to spend some time with some family and friends, and we did a lot of laughing and talking. So my voice is probably sounding more Canadian than usual. I think I've eradicated my Canadian accent pretty much, but it does come back when I spend a lot of time there. Go figure. Go figure. Hopefully you can hear me okay. I have one mic that allows me to be plugged into one device at a time. So I know that YouTube might be a little bit more quiet than Facebook because this mic is plugged in for Facebook. But I do that you can still hear me over here on YouTube while we are working. Okay, so I've removed like that white edge off of my paper, right? White edge is gone. We have this image. I feel like I want to go this way. If it's wrong, I could totally do it this way as well. Either way would work. I feel like this just directly works better for me. I don't know. Made it up in my head. So what am I going to do? Well, I did, before the video started, mark a tiny spot on my table to line up this little line so that I can be aware when I lay it down where my midsection is. Because this paper fits really, really close to the edge, I want to make sure that it's going to be even. And to be even, we have to get it on even. So I know that I need to be right about there. So this line is going to line up to my pencil mark, and we're going to lay this paper down. Now, I could bring you in a little closer, but then you're going to cut me in because it's a pretty big drop leaf table. Pretty solid little thing. Let me play with Facebook's angle just a tiny bit. Fingers crossed that when I touch my camera, everything doesn't fall down because I'm stacked up here like nobody's business. There. Now Facebook is just a little bit closer. YouTube, you can still see me on your direction. This double streaming device stuff, not for the weak. Not for the weak. It takes some practice and setting up over here. So if you're tuning in a little late, this paper is called Indian Summer. Indian Summer for Facebook, Indian Summer for YouTube. Check it out. So this was from the previous release, not this one, but the previous release paper, and I haven't used it yet, so I'm kind of pumped. I like to use new stuff. I like to play with new things. So there's a lot of ways that people do deco paper, okay? I'm going to show you the way that I do it, the way that I find is simplest for me, the easiest way for me to do this without making a mess, without paint, and getting it done, all right? What are the tools that you need? Well, obviously you're going to need scissors, right, to cut your edges. If you're not a cutter and you want to rip it, and you want it to actually come in and make your outline a little more jagged, you totally can. There's no rules in painting. It's whatever you're more comfortable with. But since this is so close to the edge for me, I'm not going to take in. If this image was just a little bit smaller, I probably would tear around first, put it down, and try and mimic what we're going to do, because I do have stencil on there. This stencil is fairly old. I'm actually not even sure if it's still available on the Dixie Belle Paint page. This is a stencil that was released a couple years ago called Mud Cloth. And if you look at the mud cloth pattern, it's super similar to what's going on over here, right? You can see how it kind of looks the same as the lines on the edge of the paper. So technically, we might use a little of that stencil to drag it in. So you saw me cutting, so you need scissors. What else do you need? Well, this is going to be your magical tool for easy and simple decoupage application. This is handy dandy saran wrap. It's plastic wrap from my kitchen. We're not fancy. It's just plastic wrap. Why do I want plastic wrap? Well, after I wet back and put it onto my piece with the clear coat, this is going to be my tool to push out and smooth out any wrinkles. This is how I'm going to do it, okay? So rice paper is thicker in value. This is a thicker style of paper. In order to apply this to my piece, I like to spray the back with water. I'm going to actually lay it down. It might be easier for me to lay it down. We're just going to damp it a little bit. why I dampened the paper a little bit. We're not talking like soaking wet. We're not talking like super, super wet. We're talking just a little bit damp, because the dampness is going to make it stretchy. It's going to give me some stretch factor that I haven't had before, okay? The other thing you're going to need is your clear coat. For today's project, I'm going to be using clear coat in flat. You could also use clear coat in satin. Preferably satin, to be honest. I thought I grabbed satin, but I didn't. Flat works just as well. It's just not as shiny, right? It's actually a little bit less sticky, I find, for paper, but it's still doable. This is still a doable option, okay? The brush for me today to apply this to my piece is a brand new brush from Dixie Belle. It's actually a synthetic chip brush. It's a 2-inch synthetic brush that is super, super cheap. This is an easy thing to use and then dispose if you don't want to clean it, but they clean really well as well. So I'm going to take my, actually what I should do before I start, where's the lid? Let's get a little shake, a little shakeroo. We're going to shake it up and make sure this is dispersed and mixed around, okay? So we're going to give it a little shake, 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 shakeroo thing, and get this on your brush. Now, I'm not going to worry about the fact that there is cracks in my table, okay? I don't care, because after dried, I'm going to be able to use my knife to cut that paper through those lines. Easy peasy, trust me. So apply your satin or flat clear coat a little thick, a little liberally. Make it really kind of go on there well. You're not being perfect and clean, you're just really getting it on. This is going to be the thing that adheres the paper to your project. It's really noisy inside. The garbage man is here and it's super noisy. Super noisy, sorry. But yay for taking my garbage away. Appreciate that. All right, so here is our clear coat, okay? It's on there. Is it good? No. Is it enough to stick the paper? Yes. I'm just going to do one more quick little sip of my backing of my paper. And I'm going to turn my back to you. So I apologize while I turn my back to you because I need to actually line this up and get on the way that I want it. So I'm going to turn my back. Remember my little line on top? That's going to be my measuring tool. Once I get the top, I can kind of peel off the bottom and stick it down. Okay, so now that my top is down, I'm going to pick it back up. And I'm going to start from the middle and smooth it out. I'm just using my hand right now. Remember, we sprayed the back of this paper. By spraying the back of the paper, we made it a little bit stretchy. It's a little stretchy. Okay. So now, my paper is pretty much on there. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab my handy dandy tool, plastic wrap, surprise. There's nothing on top of this. There's no more clear coat on top, okay? This is just my plastic wrap. Middle, from the middle out, I'm going to work to smooth any wrinkles, okay? You can pick up if you need to and smooth as you go along. It's up to you. I'm not rubbing really hard. This is a gentle rub. Remember, right over top of my crack. And I don't think I put enough over here. Let's get this real close to the edge. Ooh. I can feel where the paper's not grabbing, where I missed putting the clear coat. So pushing out the wrinkles. I'm going to have to add some more over there in the corner as well. working sometimes. Oh, that's for the non-stop chatter that's not happening right now. Usually I'm chattering my little face off, but I feel like I really missed this bottom part, so I'm going to just apply some more clear coat. And I'm actually going to spray it a little bit, just stretch that paper a tiny bit more, because there's a wrinkle down here that doesn't want to come out. Better. Much better. Sometimes when you spray it, it just moves that paper wrinkle just a tiny bit. I'm not getting crazy with this. I'm gentle. Because if you rub too hard, you take the chance of removing the paper. And I don't want the paper, like I don't want to remove the ink on the paper. I just want to get this down. So now I'm going to come in on the edge. And I'm just going to double make sure that I've got this down. And I'm going to start to seal the top a bit. Remember, I used the flat rather than the satin. I'm going to use that to push this down. To be honest, I will go over top of this with satin after I get it down, because I do like satin clear coat seals in the paper. Kind of going over the edges first, making sure that I don't see any of those lines, any of those big old wrinkles. Let's work on this side. A little more up here. I do smooth my fingers along it as well. And I'm just double checking that I've got all of those wrinkles out. You can kind of see the line where the cut in the table is. I won't cut that 100% dry, because if you cut it now, it's wet and it's going to rip your paper. You want to wait for that paper to get dry. I really need to reach. It looks like I'm a little further on the right hand side than the left hand side, but that's still okay because we're painting this paper. You'll not be able to tell when I am all done. So I've used my hand to move that edge. I see a little bit of a wrinkle there. I'm just going to push it out with my brush. Okay, so now our paper is on, right? Our paper is on the piece. What's the next step? Well, the next step for me is to go back to the middle and start to brush the clear coat over top. This is just giving me the extra insurance and solid on there. I'm making sure to go over my edge. You don't have to be neat and tidy about this. This is the fun part. Just do it. Just get it on there. Cover your edges. Make sure you've pushed out all those air bubbles. Isn't this going to be cute on the top of the table? Gosh, you guys, it's going to be adorable. So I have the original drawer down here. This table has a small drawer on the front. And I took off the ugly batwing and threw it in the garbage because I do not like batwing hardware. It is not my favorite. I think it's ugly. This is batwing hardware if you don't know what batwing is. See how it looks like a bat? We should save them for Halloween and paint them black. We could make more. I mean, that's the cutest thing ever. But I found a different vintage hardware. Look like a little laurel of swag. And I'm going to be using that on the drawer instead. What am I going to paint the base of this? Well, we're going to paint it all different colors of Terra clay paint to paint this table in. When I say paint it in, we're going to get rid of this white edge, and we're going to do that together. So now, what's going to happen? Scooch my bottom back. I'm going to move my clear coat out of the way. I will make a mess of myself here. And I have a rag on the floor. I have a couple of Dixie Belle's natural fiber brushes. These are called the French tip. This one actually feels a little creepy. This one might be too dirty. I might just chuck that one. Gotta clean it. But these two, you see how much they're well loved? See how worn out they get? They used to have like a tippy top little point. And I use these things so darn much. this one now. This one feels like a little hard. What did I do? Brushes. This one feels hard and the last one felt dirty. It's because I used clear coat and I didn't wash it out good enough. But when I paint with that, I like to add texture. So these are the brushes that I go to for my Terra texture. Something that's a little bit, you know, more natural fiber brush that's a little bit more bristly. It allows me to stipple my paint on and create texture where there wasn't any before. So let's open up my Terra Clay Paint and talk about it. What is Terra Clay Paint? Terra Clay Paint is Dixie Belle's newest baby. Dixie Belle created Terra Clay a couple of years ago. It's thick, it's chunky, it's my favorite way to paint. It has 18 beautiful colors. And when I do decoupage, this is my go-to. This is what I use. It's like pudding, y'all. This stuff has texture on it that just makes the most easiest blending, along with really blending the colors in. Okay, so let's see the colors that opened up on the floor here today. We have, to begin with, Moonbeam, which is white. We have Prairie Dawn, which is like a beam. I have a bright daffodil yellow. I mean, hello, I don't even think I've used this yet, to be honest with you. Then we have another yellow, which is probably the one that's closest to kind of what I see here. We're going to be mixing together. I did grab this kind of gray pigment that you see here in Desert Tan. And then, of course, we have the orange, which is Marigold. I'm going to scooch up and I'm going to start to dab some paint on. Yes, this is wet. Yes, I'm hurrying the process. But I want you all to see how fast and easy it is to blend this stuff in. And to be honest, I probably will end up using the same darn brush for the whole entire thing. It usually seems to be the way that it goes. So let's bring this up a little bit closer so that you can see what's happening. Okay, so see this line here? This is where you're seeing the primer, right? I want to make this line here. It's super close to fitting, almost 100% exactly, but not white. So we're going to start with the white, right? Because I just want to, I'm going to be bringing it down closer than where the edge is. This white is going to start to give me some texture. You can see how I stipple it on. I don't paint it on. To me, it doesn't get painted, it gets stippled. So by adding white Moonbeam, stippling it on, we're going to play with this and start to see what we can do. Can everybody see? You guys can see? You can see. So stippling on the white all along this edge. This paper is long enough on the sides here that I don't need to do that. It covers the sides. It's just 2 tiny little spots. I might bring it in a little bit just to blend. That's Moonbeam. So now I'm going to just rub my brush off on my rag. Let's move into a little bit of the Prairie Dawn. Okay. Prairie Dawn is a little bit creamier of this color. It's close, but we're not exactly the same. Again, stippling. Find my heat gun. If I can get my heat gun and plug it in, this is going to be a lot easier. All right, hold your horses. I'm going to unplug my mic here. I'm going to run over and grab my heat gun. I'll be back. Question is, will the heat gun reach the plug? It might reach the plug. Okay, so this is the thing about Terra Clay Paint. Put your back on. Terra Clay Paint has the ability to keep its texture when you're painting. It's going to keep it, okay? I'm going to dry a little bit about what we did here. We're going to concentrate on this area right here. Okay. Now, remember I said I have this on the floor, this mud cloth still? I think I'm going to add a little bit of Desert Tan, which is just a little bit more gray. Chunk of it right there. Let's add a little bit more gray. Just a touch. Maybe a little bit more. Okay, we're going to hit it again with the heat gun. Okay, this is where the fun starts to happen. I'm going to take a separate brush. Now, I have a couple of colors on the floor. Remember our orange marigold, our yellow daffodil, and our more pastel-y wheat. Let's hold this stencil up and try and mimic a little bit of this pattern over top of the edges, but bringing it down. We're going to bring the pad down further than the paint, and what that's going to do is pull the two together still a little bit. Let's do a small section and see how that looks. I'm going to hold it with one hand, and we're going to do it with the other. Let's see if I can do this where everybody can see. Okay, I'm going to take the other brush that's not dirty. Let's start off with this color, which is like a very pale yellow. I just blotted it off with my towel. Let's see what we can do. So this piece has almost like stripes of color, if you look at it. So let's add some stripes. Again with the wheat. I'm going to keep the same brush. I'm going to dip into the orange, which is the marigold. Again, blotting it off. Now, the hint that I'm going to give is that whatever you're doing to this edging, you should bring a little bit of it down further to where the stencil is as well. What that's going to do is bring the image together. It's going to bring it together, okay? And by bringing it together, you're going to be able to then combine a little bit of what you're adding and what the image is showing you, okay? Just a little bit to it. Now I'm going to go into that brighter yellow, which is the daffodil. And we're going to put that, let's see if it's too bright. Okay, now I'm going to take this off and see what's underneath. See what we did. So now all of a sudden you've taken the pattern, added a little more of that color down here. We brought that pattern up around the edges. I do think that I'm going to bring the desert tan up. See how it comes up like this? I like these little stripes right here. I'm going to use the desert tan, and we're going to put some of that desert tan on there as well. Desert tan is the grayish color, and we're going to pull it together. I like the little circles. I feel like the circles blend well with these little images. So let's take this side up here and add some desert tan circles. The desert tan is not very dark, mind you, right? It's a little bit lighter. And I'm going to also come down here and add some of it. Remember adding, the trick of adding it in where the image is not is going to allow you to kind of fake in the stencil. Can you see how those little dots up there are pulling it in together? This piece will also have a lot of wax. I feel like the yellow might be too bright. I can easily go over top of that with some of that desert tan and dull it a little bit. That's better. Can you see how cute that is and how easy that blends in? Let me put the stencil down and of the paper just kind of disappear. You can't even really see where the paper ends and where this other bit begins. And that starts with bringing it down further into the paper and then adding over top, adding those lips over top to blend it together. I actually think I would probably put some desert tan down here as well, just to make it look even more hand painted. You're not going to do a lot, but you're going to find the sections where you can maybe add that in. And what that's going to do is pull that color and make it look even more hand painted. I like that. I like that a lot, actually. I think that this is a really pretty paper. I think that this is going to be popular. I think that everybody loves something, and I really love how that it's easy to blend. What do we think? Can you see now? Can you see what I did? How to make those edges disappear from like a plain white border to something that looks a little bit more cohesive, right? Going over the top, over the edge. I might even bring this, how we brought this paint here, down further on the edge. Just see what it looks like. I like the little peaks of orange that we added that come up here. It really makes the paper carry close to the edge. What do you think? Do you think that's good? Good. If you like it, send me some hearts, show me some love. I'd love to see what you think about that. I think that's perfect. So my job now is to continue this process. If you like, we can do a little bit more over here before I let you go. I have a little bit more time. Let me get this part dry with my, and then once we get that dry, we can start to add layers. I'm going to add a little more of that desert tan. Now remember, terra clay does dry a little bit differently than regular chalk mineral paint. When it's dry, it lightens up quite a bit in value. You're going to find that you're going to need to seal it with Terra Tough or Terra Matte in order to really bring it back its vibrancy. So let's go back to that other brush. I'm going to go back to the wheat color that we first, dabbing it off with my brush. Let's add some little wheat diamond coming up and over the edge. That's the way that you do it, is over the edge. And remember, adding the same value of colors in different parts of the actual piece is going to blend it together. I'm going to add a little bit of the brighter yellow onto the brush. Let's see what we've got over here. I really like those little dots. Let's get into orange a little bit, which is that beautiful marigold. Now, I liked that way that desert tan looked, so I'm going to come in a little bit of that too. And then we have to go around the edge. I feel like a brighter color when you really pull it together. Let's go in with that yellow. And we're going to peel this off and have a look. See how that blends? How it really pulls those edges together? I feel like they're missing something. Let's add some more of those little dots. I'm going to turn it around where the paint is not so wet. And I'm going to do them in orange, I think. Marigold. Remember, my brush is actually contaminated, which is great because all these colors blend really well together. That's better. Better. Look at how cute that is. It's almost impossible to tell where the paper was and where the end is. This is exactly what I'm going for. So the stencil I used today is called Mud Cloth. It's from a couple years ago. You might not find it as easy online. Your local retailer might have it. The paper is called Indian Summer. And then I used a clear coat. You can also use satin. When this dries, I will obviously be cutting this edge. And then cutting here is going to allow that drop leaf to drop over. I think what I need to do is actually get some brown. Terra does not have a beautiful brown in this line, so I'll probably use chocolate from the Chalk Mineral line to add a couple of little squiggles, hand painted most likely, just to match this value, just on the edges. And then this little tabletop itself will be done. I'm going to have to obviously do it all the way around. I turned it on the side so you guys could see exactly what I was up to today. What do you think? Adorable, right? Super cute. So using a stencil that has similar values, or like the Leave Me Alone stencil, or a stencil that has some sort of like kind of foliage that you can really pull the edges in, it becomes impossible to see where that paper was. And this is textured paint. This paint has texture to it, so it really disappears. It just makes the edges of what you're doing gone. Like there, you can't see where that edge was. It looks like the paper goes all the way around, which to me is exactly what I wanted to do. And to be honest, my most popular video here on YouTube at the Top Drawer RVA is me putting decoupage paper and painting it in. People really want to see and learn how to do this. So I'm glad that we got to sit down together and spend some time and really focus on how to make the edge of a paper blend in and disappear, because this is turning out 1000% exactly like I wanted it to go. So if you ever have any questions about painting and you're stuck or you're struggling, feel free to reach out. My name is Melissa. I am the owner and artist here at Dixie Belle's brand ambassadors, here to help and save the day and paint live with you every Wednesday at 3 p.m. So thank you to YouTube down here for watching along, and Facebook up here for watching along. We're doing a dual stream today. I know it's a little bit different than usual, but you know, I want to reach as many people as possible to show this really fun look. This table, I think I'm just going to keep going, to be honest. I've got a volley cup today. I gotta go pick up a kid at volleyball. But other than that, I think I'm just gonna plug away and get this thing done, because I really love how this is turning out. And now I don't even have to paint the whole of the table. It's done in a gorgeous paper, and it's beautiful and made and done and ready to go. So stay tuned. I will have this finished product up on my social media pages sometime, hopefully by the end of the week. You can catch me on all social media at the Top Drawer RVA, and I will talk to you all later. Goodbye, Facebook. See you later. Goodbye, YouTube. See you later.